a year, and you know, every night you pour so much into it, you give everything you can. At the end, you are exhausted, you know, and because I was explaining to some people the other day, they said, "How can you do it just the guitar?" You know, and I said, "Well, I like it this way, but the thing you must know is that when it's just you and just the guitar and nothing else, you are completely naked. Everything you do is magnified by this big hall, big sound, lights, everything, and then everything you do is much bigger. So, yeah, it's a big responsibility. So you must keep your courage and keep your nerve and play and enjoy it, you know. But it also makes you think carefully about the songs you play, the arrangements, and that everything works."
Do you sometimes miss band members in this?
Not really. I enjoy jamming with people. I enjoy having a band, but I don't miss it because when I'm playing, I am the band, and that's how I think. That's what makes my playing different from other guitar players. Is when I play, I hear everything in my head and I feel it. So even a person who knows nothing about music will say, "I thought there were more people," or maybe he has a computer under the stage, you know. So, no, it's just me. It's how you do it, you know. Yes. So when I'm playing a song where, because I'm very conscious of the time of this time and groove, so I'm doing this all the time, banging my foot and stomping the groove out on stage, and that's how I keep it nice and solid, you know. And then if you feel the time with your mind and with your body and you are relaxed, then you can do what you wish, and the time is still there because you can't lose it if it's inside you. So let me give you an example of.
Put yourself naked. You're putting yourself naked.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're wearing yourself.
Oh, sorry. So, if I was going to play something, say for instance, when I play a song of mine called Stevie's Blues, but it's a shuffle thing. it stays there, and that's what makes the one-man band thing work. You have that together, and here in my case is a very important thing. This is a guitar tuner. I tune with this, but it's also this is what I practice with.
Still today?
Yes, all the time.
And you play?
Yeah. Yeah, so I could think of nothing more important than to feel the grooves in your playing and keep the time together. The only downside of that for me is I cannot find too many people who do the same thing. So when I play with other players, they drive me crazy. I say, hey, listen, because they're speeding up and going crazy, It's like, whoa, stop. Listen to where the time is, But a lot of times it's just excitement and enthusiasm. And I don't want to stop people's enthusiasm. At the same time, I want to gently make them aware. Excuse me, but can you listen to the time? Okay.
Since you picked your guitar, how do you choose an instrument? How do you choose a guitar? What's the first thing you look for in a guitar when you pick it up? Or you pick it up just to buy it?
The sound and the feeling of it.
The volume or
the volume's easy. You can make anything loud or soft. Just put the right electronics in it. But I mean, I'm talking about an acoustic guitar that you want to plug in. Okay? This guitar sounds good, just acoustic, as you just heard. But
from Australia, from Australia. Right?
Yeah. But when I play a concert, I cover the hole here, and I plug in. Now, you can see there's a microphone in there.
That's a microphone.
Yeah. No, see that little microphone there?
And also it
is not an expensive microphone. Expensive microphones are a waste of time inside a guitar.
Right.
Yeah. Because they have too many frequencies. And so the poor sound man is trying to pull out frequencies, and then you end up with no balls in your sound. Right? Yeah. So you're better to have a cheaper microphone and push it, So what I do is I use the pickup, which is piezo pickup under the saddle, and I blend it in. I use most of the time, I use the microphone on 10. I use the pickup on 10. That's how you get the sound. But you must cover the hole. Don't try and do that with the hole exposed. You will get all sorts of overtones and feedback and all that. I play in concert halls every night, so I'm taking a big risk. I try to push the acoustic sound of what I'm doing. I'm using an amplifier and a preamp. I'm using 2 signals, and my sound man really pushes it out there. And so everything is wide open. And that's another way I was saying before, that you are naked up there. Because if everything is wide open, then everything must be right, So that's what I do. I use the mic, and I turn the thing up. So it's a matter, people will say to me, what is the best guitar? And I say, the best guitar is the one that you love, the one that you can't stop playing. And it doesn't matter what name it is, what it costs, where it was made. None of that matters. If you love it, and if you enjoy playing it, then that's the guitar. And if you have to put a pickup in it so you can play in a live situation, then there are lots of good pickups to choose from as well. So, for me, I'm looking for a guitar that is really comfortable, has a good sound, and frankly, that I could play all day.
Do you set up guitars by yourself, the truss roll and so on? Or?
I carry a truss rod adjuster.
And you do it by yourself?
Yeah, I do it all. Here, it's right here.
Do you sometimes feed file the nuts also?
Here it is.
Yeah.
I adjusted the neck on this last time because I'm very sensitive for that.
You'd rather?
Yeah, and sometimes you get hot, like if I go to Thailand or Vietnam or somewhere, it's hot and humid, and my neck will go straight, the strings will go down on the neck. It will be so straight, and I'll have to let it off, you know.
Do you use the smallest action you can find? Or?
No, I haven't said. These frets are fairly high, and these are stainless steel frets, and they have.
That's how they survive.
Exactly.
The guitar does.
No,
the guitar don't.
No, but see the sustain.
Very light.
So you can hear these frets really sing.
The guitar is born with stainless steel frets?
No, I had it done last year, and they're much higher than the mason frets, right? So for the whole month, almost the whole month of touring, my hands were so sore every night, right here in the middle of the tips of my calluses, where I'm touching on the fret. It took almost a whole month of playing before my hands got hard enough to get used to this different action.
And what about the gauges?
The gauge.
The gauge.
This guitar is 12 to 54. The other two, because I carry 3 guitars on the road, the other two are medium gauge, 13 to 56. But what I do is I have a low flat action, big strings, but low flat action. I don't do much bending on the other guitars. I do it all on this one. So I have 2 of these, exactly the same. One has 13s on it, and I use it for drop D and drop G as well. And the other one is a guitar like this, a dreadnought with a cutaway, and I have medium strings on that, tuned down a whole step, so the E is a D. It's normal tuning, but it's down.
Like they use for the 12 string. Do you use 12 strings sometimes?
Very rarely, no. Normally, if I want to make a 12-string sound, I do one track on a normal guitar, and then I have a national tuning, high string, Little Martin, and put the 2 together, and it just sounds like a really beautiful, big, open 12-string.
Talking about your fingertips, is it true that sometimes you take chords pressing 2 strings with one fingertip?
Yeah, like that. So I do E.
Always, or something.
A minor like that. E6 like that. Yeah. And this is it's only since I started making videos and instructional things that I realized that people would say, what are you doing there? How do you get that extra note? And I said, well, watch the video. And they said, we can't see it. And what it is I'm covering 2 strings like that, right? Or whatever. And I didn't realize, because I just do it, I didn't talk about it. I just did it.
You done it from the beginning, or your son?
I've always done it. I have, like every guitar player, I have my own kind of habits. Some good, some bad. Yeah, but like I used my thumb over the top a lot. You know, that's how I would play a Merle Travis E7. I do that a lot. It's a way of being economical with my hands, because there's no need to try doing so much. You find the best way, more less effort, more effect. That's what I do. I just play A minor like that. I'm going. It's just 2 fingers. I do that a lot, and you can see that the tips of my fingers are very flat and wide, and they always have been. Even when I was really little. My hands look like Frankenstein hands when I was a little boy. I was just normal, little boy, but big hands.
Yeah, destiny was that.
Guitar is my life and my destiny.
It comes across.
Yeah. Didn't be too close.
Yeah. And since you're self-taught musician, autodidatta, do you feel now that you're it's the big time, you
well, compared to some people, maybe, yeah.
But now,
Elton John is the big time.
Now that the record selling is gone away,
yeah.
Maybe the big time is in the end of who plays venues and concerts. So the question is, do you feel mainstream musician or maybe an independent musician doing your thing? Do you think you have to answer the public in a way that people expect from a star, or do you still?
I'm always the same.
When you write songs, when you write music.
Oh, when I write music, I have to please myself. Okay, so I always try to think away from thinking like a guitar player. I try to write a song for a singer to sing. So all my songs have to tell a story, take the listener somewhere, and have a journey, a musical journey, you know. And so I always think, when I was young, I only listened to singers and songwriters. That's what I listened to. I was not like other guitar players who only listened to, Led Zeppelin and Eric Clapton and B.B. King. I didn't do any of that until I was in my late 20s, Before then, I was listening to Neil Diamond, James Taylor, Elton John. I loved all the stuff right back to Rocket Man and Yellow Brick Road and all that. I listened to all that stuff. Gordon Lightfoot, I listened to all his albums. So it was singers and songwriters that I was interested in, right? And so what I learned from that experience was how important putting the song out and telling the story was, So, and then in the late 70s, I signed a deal with a company called MCA, which eventually became Universal Pictures, right? So I was signed at MCA, and part of my deal was that they would send me to Los Angeles as a songwriter. So that's
for other people.
Yeah, they put me together with LA songwriters who were trying to get covers and get on the radio and all that sort of stuff. Right? So my goal in those days was to get a song on an Olivia Newton-John album because she was one of the biggest selling artists of the late 70s, right? So my goal was, and the guy who wrote a lot of her big hits was a good friend of mine, and he said to me, when I got my first big song with Olivia Newton-John, I wrote a check to myself for $1 million and I put it on the wall. He said, and in 1 year, I cashed it. Yeah, so that's what the songwriting was like in those days, right? So I thought, if I can get a song on one of their records, then I can finance me moving to America and working with more people, and I can make some decent money. But anyway, she did cut one of my songs, and it was on an album that didn't do so well. So, but it was a great honor, and we got Lee Ritenour in to play all my guitar parts. So.
And in nowadays musician, is there someone you admire and you would like to play with someday?
Oh, there's so many.
You would like to collaborate with, and you.
Oh, you mean on writing or?
No, I mean on.
Just on stage. Well, I've played with a lot of great people. I played with Robin and Larry and George Benson and some of my heroes, Dwayne Eddy, and people like that.
there is still someone you didn't get?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Steve Vai and I are good friends, and we don't know how we would work out what to play together, you know. And the same with Joe Satriani. Joe and I have known each other for a long time, but you know, Joe, like most artists, Joe knows exactly who he is, by the way, and that's why he doesn't try to reach out and do things that are out of his vision of where he belongs. I'm a little different. I like playing solo, but I also like playing with Sokolo Rosenberg. I like playing with Frank Vignola, I like Django's music. I like Spanish music, and I'm happy to play with a classical player. I've learned some classical pieces, and I've worked out my own harmonies and stuff like that. So I can sit down with a classical player and still play duets with someone who maybe doesn't do that. So I enjoy that kind of thing. But you know, it's a thing I've learned. It's you have to recognize that quality in somebody. Like for instance, George Benson is one of my biggest heroes as a player, and I know him very well. But he's not a jammer. He does not like. If you came to my house and you were a guitar player, we would say hello, and I would say, "Here's your guitar." It would be that quick, you know. Yeah, hello, here's your guitar. That's me.
Let's play.
Right, let's play. Yeah, like we did at lunch the other day. Okay, John Jorgensen and I were having lunch, and the moment I had the last mouthful, I said, right, here's the guitar. Let's go, John. Yeah, and of course, John and I love to play together, and it's good fun. But see, you go to George Benson's house, and George he's a very nice man and a very gracious host, but he's not about jamming. And you have to understand that about him, right? Yes. But I know a lot of people who are, like Frank Vignola. If Frank walked into this room right now, the first thing he'd say is, quick, and he'd grab the guitar from the wall. Come on, let's play. He would be instantly wanting to play together. So, you know, they're the kind of guys I like hanging out with. Because I like to play a lot. And whenever I tour with Frank, and he's on the show, we end up practicing every day anyway. We end up practicing all the stuff and going through things and making sure everything's right, and then we jam. And I find that at the end of a tour with Frank Vignola, my muscles in this arm, from rhythm and playing lead and playing fast tempos with him, I'm much stronger, and then I have to get back into my fingerstyle world again.
One last question, then if somebody wants to have something that I think you look at. Do you relate with modern technology, computers, or have you ever tried MIDI guitars and so on?
Yeah,
software, USB instruments, headsets on the...
I remember when the Roland guitar set first came out, I used it to play piano parts on my demos, and I purposely played it like a piano player. I made it sound like a real piano player from the guitar. But I'm not very interested in using loops, and a lot of the guitar players are using loops now. And so I did that 30 years ago with looping tape, and so I don't do it now because then you join the flock of everybody else who's doing it. And there are quite a few guys who I've had open for me in America, and every one of them had a loop station. And I thought, wow, this must be the new thing. I'll make sure that I don't do that. Yeah. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what I do on stage and how simple it is. All I look for on stage is one good sound. That's it. I don't do any effects on stage whatsoever. All done by my sound man. Okay? My sound man is the most important person at my concert for me.
You always have the same guy?
Yeah. He's been with me for 3 years now. Prior to that, I had other sound guys. And this is one of the things that will set you apart from other guitar players is your sound, your live sound. And so it costs money to have a really good sound man. So you've got to be making enough money to have another airfare, another wage, another hotel room, and all that sort of stuff. So, but really, it's so worth it. It's the greatest investment as a player to have a really good sound man. Right? I'm very fortunate. I've known Steve, my sound man. I've known him since he was a teenager, and I've seen him in many different in many different contexts. Since he moved to America and I moved to America, we saw each other every now and again. And when my American sound man couldn't do certain dates, and Steve was not working at that time, I would take him with me, and he did a great job and everything. And then I offered him a job full time. But what I want to say is that what I tool with is a little AER compact 60 amplifier, a guitar stand that holds 3 guitars, right? A microphone, cables, a tuner. That's it. Three guitars. He does everything out there, and I play to his sounds. He has whatever reverbs in the digital desk he's using, or sometimes they have a lot of outboard stuff, and they'll have like Lexicons or Yamaha reverbs. He uses reverbs and so and puts them out the front. And I have a completely straight sound on stage.
Does he tour with his stuff? Or
no.
You use
When we turn up to the venue today, he will go into the desk and look and see what's there, and then bang. He's so good that he can do that every day, you know. And I use my amp. I do not put it so I can hear it in my ear. I put it on the floor, and it's pointing over there. I don't want the audience to hear the sound that's coming off that amp. I want them to hear the signal that's coming from the amp, right? And then I have a preamp here, which is called a pocket tube, which is made by the same company, AER. So that's direct and amp. That's my 2 signals. We put them in the PA, like that. Now, I have a monitor on either side, and monitors there, behind me. And the reverb that's in the front, pointing at me. The reverb that's in the PA that the audience is hearing is coming out my back monitors. So I can hear a little bit of reverb and stuff behind me, but here is completely dry. So I can hear everything. I can hear the clarity and the attack of the guitar. And that's it. It's simple. But the best, I get the best sound is strings. I put these on last night, right before the show. And they still sound good. Sometimes. Yeah. These ones are Martin FX. These are not code.
What?
Martin FX. Yeah. These are the best strings on the market right now. I love these strings. Fossil bronze. Yeah. But the other night I had a little string called Everlast. I've been testing them for Ernie Ball, and they're really good. So, I use the Dario sometimes. The Dario string. And so I just vary them.
Okay, thank you very much. I got some focaccia if you like. Do you know focaccia, a food from Genova? Do you want to try it?
If I have to. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I did like it. Well, here we go. Oh, we got to get rolling then. Yeah. So we know where to go?
Yeah, we have got him, but it's 300 meters from here, so...
Oh, we'll never make it.
Yeah. Cazzarella.
Ah, focaccia.
Somebody is asking me if you can sign some...
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
What?